Think, the Vikings, those horned helmet-wearing barbarians raiding coastlines. Well, think again. History class might have skipped a few details. Today, we're diving into 10 surprising facts about the Vikings that history often forgets. First off, let's bust the biggest myth. Viking helmets did not have horns. Not a single horned helmet has ever been found from the Viking Age. That popular image? It actually comes from a 19th century opera costume design. The real Vikings likely wore simple leather or iron caps, if they wore helmets at all. Second, they weren't just raiders. Vikings were master traders and explorers. Their long ships, marvels of engineering, allowed them to establish vast trade networks that stretched from North America all the way to Central Asia. They traded goods like fur, amber, and walrus ivory for silver, silks, and spices. Here's one you probably didn't know. Vikings were obsessed with hygiene. Archaeologists have found tweezers, razors, combs, and ear spoons at Viking sites. They bathed at least once a week, far more often than other Europeans at the era end. Even bleached their hair blonde using a strong soap with a high lye content. It wasn't just for looks, it also helped keep lice away. And speaking of looks, both Viking men and women wore makeup. They used a type of black powder called kohl to line their eyes. This wasn't just for vanity, it helped reduce the sun's glare, much like how athletes use eye black today. Surprisingly, Viking society was more egalitarian than you might think. Women could inherit property, request a divorce, and run the farm while the men were away. Some sagas even tell tales of shield maidens, women who fought alongside men in battle, though the historical evidence for this is still debated. Fact number 6. Vikings had a playful side. They loved board games, with Hennefatov, a strategic game similar to chess, being a popular favorite. They also enjoyed skiing, not just for transport, but for fun. In fact, they even had a god of skiing, Uller. They didn't call themselves Vikings. This term referred to an activity, to go a Viking, meaning to go on a raid or expedition. A person would have identified with their family or the region they came from, like Norsemen or Danes. Number 8. Their legal system was surprisingly democratic. They held regular public assemblies called things, where free men could vote on laws, settle disputes, and make political decisions. It was an early form of parliament. 9th, they were poets and storytellers. Their rich oral tradition gave us incredible sagas and epic poems filled with gods, giants, and heroes. Much of what we know about their beliefs comes from these stories, which were written down centuries later. And finally, the Viking Age didn't end in a blaze of glory. It faded away gradually as Norse kingdoms adopted Christianity, centralized their power like the rest of Europe, and stopped their raiding activities. The era of the Viking was over. So, the next time you picture a Viking, remember the clean, well-groomed trader, the property-owning woman, and the strategic board game player. There's so much more to them than the horned helmet myth. If you enjoyed uncovering these hidden truths, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into history. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.